Hey, what's going on, guys? So we finally got a new Hitman 3 update, and this one is all about cleanup, fixes, and a few pretty important quality of life changes that a lot of players were probably waiting on. The biggest change, and probably the one that matters most for completionists, is that the Disruptor got removed from the arcade challenge tracker. That sounds pretty specific, but the reason behind it is actually a big deal. It was stopping some players from reaching 100% location completion, which is the kind of thing that would drive anyone up the wall if they were trying to fully clear a map. So that fix alone is a pretty welcome one, especially for people who care about finishing everything properly and not having some weird challenge tracker issue hold them back. A bunch of the rest of the update is focused on fixing reward mix-ups and mission bugs that have been hanging around or showing up after the last update. One of the more noticeable ones is the Wizard ET rewarding the wrong duck. Instead of giving players the Muay Thai duck, it was handing out the tracksuit duck by mistake. That kind of thing is exactly the sort of issue that feels minor until you are the person grinding for a specific reward and suddenly you get the wrong one. So that has been corrected now, which is good news if you were expecting the proper payoff for that event. There are also a few cosmetic fixes in here that sound small until you actually see them. The biosuit and the head researcher disguise in Patient Zero had visible leg scene issues, which is one of those visual bugs that can break the illusion just enough to be annoying. They also fixed shirt clipping on the blindfold suit and the suburban suit during certain animations. So overall, the game should just look cleaner in motion now. I always think these kinds of fixes matter more than people give them credit for, because if a suit looks off or a model starts clipping in a weird way, it pulls you out of the experience right away. One of the more interesting reward-related changes is the Bowtie Duck being turned into a Twitch drop for Hitman 3 streams after some previous reward issues. So, if you were wondering why that item was acting strange or not showing up the way it should, that has now been adjusted. There is also a fix for the classic all-black suit spawning the default outfit during mission planning, which sounds incredibly frustrating if you thought you had selected one look and then loaded in with something else entirely. That sort of issue can mess with the whole feel of a run, especially if you are trying to keep things neat and consistent for a stealth setup. Some of the mission logic fixes are really useful too. In Sapienza, bodyguards were failing to follow targets to the observatory and Francesca's office, which could definitely break certain setups or make NPC behavior feel off. In Hokkaido, NPCs affected by emetic poison were always going to Yuti's room instead of the nearest available location, which is the kind of behavior that can make a poison plan go sideways in a way that feels completely random. Sliding doors also had a nasty issue where they could become permanently unusable after using water or oil canisters nearby. That kind of bug is the sort of thing that can ruin an entire route if it happens at the wrong moment, so it is great to see it dealt with. There are also fixes around legality, which always matter in Hitman because the game is basically built around knowing what is allowed, what will get you spotted, and what will set off an alarm. Poison interactions were incorrectly being treated as illegal for every disguise, which is obviously not how it should work. That kind of bug would make even a careful player second-guess every move. Now, that has been cleaned up. The Wizard ET got a few more important fixes too. Graves' leg and fist were getting misaligned with 47 during extended fights, which sounds funny at first, but if you are in a long encounter, that kind of animation issue can look really rough. They also fixed missing subtitles for Diana's dialogue about Graves escaping, plus a blood effect issue where Quinn's fight effects were only appearing on the face. They even fixed the mission behavior so the wizard and the pugilist would properly fail when Graves escaped by helicopter. That is the kind of mission state issue that absolutely needs to work correctly, because if the game does not recognize the failure condition the way it should, the whole mission structure gets shaky. There's also some back-end and platform stuff in here that players on specific setups will care about. Epic Games players can now open the World Champions Pack store page from the in-game menu again, which is one of those annoying little access problems that should have never been there in the first place. They also fixed server errors caused by placing items inside agency pickups or hidden stashes. And for players on Intel Arc GPUs, there were crashes affecting multiple maps because of GPU hangs, so that is another important stability fix. A few more smaller additions are still worth mentioning because they shape how the game feels overall. There is now a climbable pipe at the Colorado Water Tower, which makes descent easier, and bananas were added to various maps for more gameplay interaction, which is on brand for Hitman in the best way. They also fixed the linked account modal so it prompts players to close and continue instead of dumping the full IOI account webpage in your face, which is just a nicer experience all around. So yeah, this update is not about adding huge new content, but it absolutely matters. It clears out a bunch of annoying bugs, fixes mission flow, improves rewards, cleans up some visual issues, and smooths out a few platform headaches. For a game like Hitman, That kind of maintenance goes a long way, because when the systems are working right, the whole experience feels tighter, more consistent, and way less frustrating to play.